to use a whiteboard because by definition I'm a teacher, I'm a professor. In Spanish, they don't usually call some of their coaches sensei, they call them profe, for short for profesor. So I like to use a whiteboard, man, because I teach, and I figure when I teach, you learn and everybody grows, all right? Now, training. Now, we need to come up with a definition for training. Training is defined as, it's basically, all right, any effort that, okay, any effort that yields a behavior change, or any effort at behavior change. Any effort that yields a behavioral change, or any effort at behavior change. Now, let me help you by clearing up some things for you. Training is not programming. A lot of individuals ask me about program design. Training is not programming, okay? Program design happens on many levels. It happens in terms of having a collaborative approach with your strength and conditioning coach, your masseuse, your boxing coach, your mixed martial arts coach, your jiu-jitsu coach if you're an MMA fighter. It happens in terms of judo with your judo coach, your strength and conditioning coach, your sports psychologist. All these things can be added in your program design. Now, if you just look at things compartmentally as a strength and conditioning coach, if you will, programming has to do with understanding where we are in terms of the macro cycle, the mesocycle, etc. That's programming. It's how the program is written. Now, coaching, when you're a coach, you're a facilitator of the process. You're a facilitator of the process. You may actually do coaching and not do programming, or do coaching and write the program. Now, as a trainer, you are the individual who puts the person through the training as a trainer. Which means, and this happens for me all the time, okay? You can be a coach, as I am, and not be the person who is doing the day-to-day training. You can write the programming and not be the person who is doing the day-to-day training. Or you can do the day-to-day training. I am to the point in my particular business where more often than not, I don't do the day-to-day training because in my business, I don't swap my dollars for hours. There are times when I do training at a high price training or coaching point or price point, but I really don't do the training per se. Do I still do some training every once in a while? Yes, I do, especially with some of my weight loss groups, things of that particular nature. But you need to understand that programming is different from coaching, and coaching is different from training. Case in point, if you look in the classroom, you have a teacher, okay? The teacher is teaching. The teacher is basically the provider of knowledge. Once you get that knowledge, in order to help you better apply the knowledge, sometimes you have to go to a tutor. Your tutor would kind of be your coach, a facilitator to kind of help you get the lesson. Now, the trainer would be, sometimes it's yourself, if you're self-directed, or your parents at home, or the after-school program, the people who make sure that you do the lesson or the homework, which is the programming. In that particular case, the teacher gives the programming. Now, the teacher sometimes has to have a little bit of everything. Like, there's no role that doesn't cross over into the next role, meaning the roles don't exist. They're not mutually exclusive of each other. You're not going to have coach, trainer, programmer. More often than not, there's going to be some type of blend here where everybody has a little bit of crossover, coach, trainer, and programmer. Because if you look at the example that I just provided you with, if you look at a teacher, a parent, and a tutor, they all have some crossover, okay? The teacher usually has the most crossover because she or he is doing a lot in terms of making sure that the student gets the lesson, etc. It doesn't matter what seat that you sit in. You need to understand that your responsibilities may have some carryover in some other areas, but that area is not your area. If you're the coach, you're the coach. If you're the coach, you're not necessarily the trainer. If you're the trainer, you're not necessarily the coach. Case in point, if you look at professional football, NFL football, college football, more often than not, the head coach sits up in a cherry picker during practice. He doesn't do the training. The other coaches do the training, but he's the coach. He's in charge. He's a responsible individual. He's the chief overseer of what occurs. All right? The trainers do the training in the summer, and in the meetings there are some, they have their coaches or they have their specialty meetings or their positional meetings where they get some tutoring, some special one-on-one help. Coach, trainer, programmer, all these things are different. Okay? More often than not, the coach, in terms of football, does the main programming. Setting up practice, how long we're going to spend on each station, what we're going to do, what we need by the end of practice, etc. Okay? Training. As I said before, training, any effort that yields a behavioral change. That's what training is. You want to make sure that you get that. Okay, in terms of judo, whatever we need to do in order to change behavior so that the outcome of a match is better, that is the training. Okay? Now, the question is, who is responsible for the trainer? We kind of covered some of that just before in terms of who's responsible for the training.